amid the arid savanna and scrub forests surrounding Lake Eyasi in northern Tanzania. The Hadza people continue to preserve a hunter-gatherer lifestyle that has remained largely unchanged for thousands of years. Every morning, as the first light of dawn appears, the men set out carrying bows and arrows, while the women and children search for wild roots, fruits, and honey. In the Hadza world, every journey has a potential to become a confrontation with some of Africa's most dangerous animals. Among them, crocodiles and lions stand as the greatest challenges, demanding courage, experience, and flawless teamwork. During the dry season, when many streams run dry, animals gather around the remaining water holes to drink. This is also when crocodiles become more active in ambush, lying motionless beneath the surface for hours as they wait for unsuspecting prey. The Hadza understand these habits well and carefully study every sign before approaching the water's edge. They identify places where crocodiles are likely hiding by spotting slide marks in the mud, long tail drags, or flocks of water birds suddenly scattering into the air. To them, a single careless step can turn a hunter into prey. Before every hunt, the men gather to inspect their bows, sharpen their arrowheads, and prepare a layer of plant-derived poison for their arrows. Rather than confronting crocodiles in the water, they patiently wait for the right moment, when a reptile crawls onto the bank to bask in the sun or rest near the shoreline. A well-placed arrow will gradually weaken the crocodile. However, the hunt truly begins only after the first shot. The animal often plunges back into the water or thrashes violently, forcing the entire group to remain calm and track it for hours before making their final approach. Success brings not only a valuable source of meat, but also durable hide that can be used for many purposes in everyday life. Yet crocodiles have never been the only danger. Across the vast grasslands, lions constantly follow herds of antelope, zebras, and wild boars. At times, the very animals of Hadza have worked so hard to hunt quickly attract the attention of Africa's top predators. By watching vultures circling overhead or hearing hyenas calling in the distance, the hunters can often tell that lions are nearby. They immediately change direction, avoiding unnecessary encounters while looking for opportunities to reach the remains of a kill if conditions allow. There are times when an entire group must face a pride of lions guarding its prey. No one recklessly rushes into attack. Instead, they stand shoulder to shoulder at a safe distance, constantly making loud noises by shouting, striking their bows against tree trunks, and moving in perfect coordination. Their calmness and unity can sometimes persuade the lions to retreat, especially when the animals are already full and unwilling to risk injury. Even if the hunters recover only the leftover meat, it remains an invaluable source of nourishment for the entire community during times of food scarcity. When the hunt comes to an end, everyone works together to carry the day's catch back to camp. The meat is roasted directly over glowing coals, while the energy-rich fat is especially treasured for helping sustain the body during long journeys. According to Hadza tradition, the reward never belongs solely to the hunter who made the successful shot. The meat is shared equally among the families, ensuring that both the elderly and the children receive their portion. It is the spirit of sharing that has enabled this small community to survive countless droughts and the harsh challenges of nature across many generations. As the sun gradually disappears beyond the horizon, the hunters gather around the campfire, recounting their encounters with crocodiles beneath the water and lions across the savannah, passing their knowledge on to the younger generation. For the Hadza, every hunt is more than a search for food. It is a lesson in patience, courage, and the ability to adapt to nature. These enduring values have allowed them to preserve their ancient way of life in the wild heart of Africa. To this day,
On the first morning, when sunlight touched the edge of the savannah, I followed the Hadza men out of camp. They carried only bows, a few arrows, and knowledge passed down through generations. The older hunter walked ahead, always watching the ground. To me, it was just sand, dry grass, and faint marks. But to him, every small footprint or bent patch of grass could reveal which animal had passed. Before moving deeper, the group checked their arrows and applied plant resin mixed with herbs to the tips. Soon after, the path led us to the first situation. The guide signaled us to stop when he found a small dik-dik antelope lying near some bushes, perhaps attacked by a hyena during the night. No one rushed toward it or showed much excitement. For the Hadza, everything in nature belongs to a greater cycle. They take only what can be used and do not see it as a personal victory. After observing it, the group continued forward, because the forest still held many things ahead. Nearly an hour later, a young hunter stopped beside a dry tree trunk. Inside a hollow, there was a soft buzzing of bees. For the Hadza, honey is a valuable gift from the forest, sweet and full of energy after long walks. They used smoke to drive part of the swarm away and took only what was needed. When they returned to camp, the children ran out to greet them, the women lit the fire, and the men placed the food in the center. Meat, honey, or any food brought back did not belong to one person, but to the whole community. Sitting beside the fire that afternoon, I realized that the most impressive thing was not their ability to follow tracks, but the way they shared everything. No one had to be reminded, and no one tried to take more. Every piece of meat and every chunk of honey was placed together so everyone could eat. Here, survival was not the story of one strong individual, but the unity of the whole group. One person could be a great hunter, but the community helped everyone get through difficult days. For the dangerous journey, taking away the fatigue of the climb. In the following days, I better understood how the Hadza entered each hunt. They did not make rigid plans or force themselves to catch one specific species. If the forest sent a signal, they listened. While passing through an area of bushes and low rocks, one man discovered the tracks of a wild cat that had just crossed. The group lowered their bodies, spread out slowly, and waited for the right moment. One arrow flew with precision. The hunt ended in silence, with only the calm of people who had always lived close to nature. Another time, they caught a guinea fowl after hours of following sounds through the bushes. The prey was carried back to camp, and the familiar scene happened again. Children sat near the fire, women prepared the embers and tools, while the men cleaned the animal. No one asked who had made the shot or claimed the best part. Once the prey reached the camp, it was no longer one hunter's achievement. It became a shared meal, divided in the way this community had done for generations. The longer I stayed there, the more I understood that sharing was not a forced rule, but a natural way of life. Children grow up seeing food always placed in the middle of everyone. Adults do not measure value by possessions or the number of animals hunted. What matters is who can contribute something to the common meal of the day. One day someone finds honey, another day someone hunts a small animal, but in the end, everyone sits around the fire. That trust makes life here feel much lighter. When I left the Hadza tribe, I did not want to say they were happier than the modern world. But I clearly felt one thing: they do not need much to feel complete. Perhaps what exhausts human beings is not always the lack of things, but the effort of holding on to too many. In that wild land, the Hadza showed me another way of living, simple yet profound. If you want to discover more stories about Hadza life, hunting, and culture, leave a comment and do not forget to follow the channel.
There comes another one.
Whenever they leave camp, the Hadza enter a land where one small mistake can leave them without prey or bring them dangerously close to large predators hiding nearby. Across the sun-scorched grasslands and open woodlands of northern Tanzania, they have no firearms, food reserves, or modern hunting equipment. Their community survives through bows and arrows, the ability to read tracks, and knowledge passed down for thousands of years. Here, food is never guaranteed, and every hunt is a silent struggle between patience, instinct, experience, and the wild. In the open woodland, a hunter discovers tracks around a burrow and several fresh claw marks on nearby trees. From these signs, the group quickly identifies the shelter of a honey badger. Although small, this animal is extremely aggressive and can defend itself fiercely when cornered or suddenly threatened. The Hadza push a long branch into the burrow to force it outside, while another hunter waits nearby with his bow fully drawn.
There comes another one.
As soon as the honey badger appears, an arrow leaves the bowstring with remarkable speed. The hunt ends before the animal has enough time to react. The hunter carefully collects the prey and continues forward because the catch is still not enough to feed the entire community. Hadza hunting rarely depends on luck alone. They study tracks, broken branches, disturbed soil, and wind direction to understand what happened only moments earlier. Moving farther into the open savanna, the hunters discover tracks and droppings from an African warthog. They immediately slow down, remain completely silent, and move against the wind to prevent it from detecting their scent. When the distance is close enough, one hunter slowly raises his bow. At that moment, years of experience and careful observation are focused into a single shot. The arrow strikes its target, but the warthog quickly turns and escapes through the tall grass. The hunters immediately follow the fresh trail. They know the poison on the arrow will eventually take effect, but they cannot afford to lose sight of the animal. Every footprint, flattened stalk, and patch of disturbed soil guides them over a long distance. Finally, the warthog begins to weaken and falls in the middle of the grassland. The hunters quickly approach and remove the prey from the dangerous open area. While part of the group drags the warthog back toward the camp, the others follow the tracks of a small herd of antelopes. They use bushes, low ground, and the direction of the wind to conceal all their movements. When one animal separates from the herd, the hunter slowly draws the bowstring. The arrow strikes its shoulder, and it runs a short distance before falling. There is no loud celebration, only concentration and gratitude for the food they have obtained. However, bringing down prey does not mean the dangerous hunt is completely over. Smells and sounds can attract larger predators from far away. When a lion suddenly appears nearby, the atmosphere changes immediately. The Hadza do not panic or move forward recklessly. They keep their distance, stay close together, and watch every movement, ready to retreat if the situation becomes too dangerous. Protecting the food matters, but returning safely remains their highest priority. In the Hadza world, humans and powerful predators share the same territory. Courage does not mean confronting every danger, but knowing exactly when to advance and when to stop. While the men hunt, the women dig up wild tubers and gather food near the camp. The tubers are placed in woven baskets and shared among everyone, helping the community survive unsuccessful hunting days and endure the harsh, unforgiving dry season. At the end of the day, everyone returns to camp with what they have gathered. The prey is carefully cleaned, roasted over hot coals, and divided fairly among the families. No one receives a larger portion for shooting the first arrow. Children sit beside the adults and listen to stories about tracks, wind, and important hunting decisions. After the meal, songs and lively conversations echo around the fire. If you enjoy survival stories like this, leave a comment and follow the channel.
The morning in northern Tanzania begins beneath a deep blue sky, stretching all the way to the horizon. There are no white clouds drifting overhead, nor the lively sounds that usually welcome a new day. For the Hadza people, this is just another ordinary morning, much like countless others they have experienced over thousands of years. Yet every hunt is a new journey, because in this untamed wilderness, no one can ever predict what lies ahead. The hunt begins without a single command. There is no leader giving orders, no lengthy discussion or carefully laid plan. Each member simply knows their role through knowledge and experience passed down from generation to generation. They carry wooden bows, carefully prepared arrows, and a small knife fastened at the waist. Every step is slow yet confident, so light that it almost blends with the breathing of the forest itself. For the Hadza, hunting has never been about strength alone. It is a careful balance of patience, keen observation, and a deep understanding of nature. They pause again and again to listen for sounds so faint that most people would never notice them. A fresh footprint pressed into the soil, a blade of grass that has just been disturbed, or even a subtle shift in the wind is enough to reveal the presence of prey. Every sense is fully engaged. In this forest, a single reckless decision can come at a very high cost. Suddenly, a crocodile appears near the path they are following. The distance is close enough to make the atmosphere instantly tense. Yet no one panics. The hunters quietly observe the animal before calmly changing direction. They understand that courage is not about confronting every danger, but about knowing when to move forward and when to step away. To them, returning home safely is always more important than chasing a single animal. After leaving the dangerous area behind, the hunt continues with its true objective, an aardvark, a secretive and elusive animal known for being remarkably difficult to approach. Finding its tracks is already a challenge, but getting close enough for a clean shot is even harder. One hunter slowly raises his bow, draws the string tight, and releases. The arrow flies swiftly and true, bringing the hunt to an end in a single moment. They examine the animal, retrieve the arrow, and quietly move on. There are no cheers and no signs of prideful celebration. The only expressions on their faces are calmness and gratitude, thankful that nature has provided another meal for the group. When they return to camp, the meat is roasted over a small fire fueled by dry grass and firewood gathered from the forest. No one keeps the best portion for themselves, and no one believes they deserve more than anyone else. Every piece is shared fairly, so that everyone has something to eat. This is a tradition that has existed within the Hadza community for generations, where the survival of each individual has always depended on the well-being of the group. Their way of life reflects a philosophy that is both simple and profound. The Hadza rarely store wealth or stockpile resources for the distant future. They take from nature only what is needed to sustain life, believing that balance is what allows people to endure over time. In their community, wealth is not measured by material possessions, but by the willingness to share and the strength of the bonds between its members. Everyone understands that only when the community thrives can each individual continue to live and flourish. Perhaps that is why today's hunt is not a story of a glorious victory or a thrilling adventure. It is simply an ordinary day in the life of the Hadza, yet one filled with profound lessons about humility, gratitude, and the spirit of sharing. In a modern world that constantly urges us to seek more, move faster, and reach higher, their way of life reminds us that true happiness does not always come from possessing more. Sometimes, it comes from knowing what is enough and being willing to share what we have, so that everyone can continue to thrive. As the first light of dawn spread gently across the grasslands and scattered woodlands, sunlight gradually illuminated the wilderness, while many wild animals left their resting places to begin searching for food. Back at the camp, the tribal hunters also woke up very early to prepare for a new hunting expedition. They carefully checked their bows, arrows, knives, and ropes, making sure every tool was in perfect condition. While the hunting dogs were fed before departure, several young men took the opportunity to practice archery by shooting at wooden targets near the camp. Once every preparation was complete, the entire group gathered together and quietly set out across the open savanna to begin the hunt. Not long after entering the grasslands, the tribal hunters spotted an antelope calmly grazing in an open area. Using tall grass and low terrain as cover, they silently reduced the distance without alerting the animal. As soon as the right moment arrived, everyone raised their bows together. Several arrows flew through the air and struck the target. Wounded, the antelope immediately turned and tried to flee, but after running only a short distance, it gradually lost its strength and collapsed. The hunters quickly approached, secured the animal with ropes, and took turns carrying the antelope back to the camp. After returning to the camp, the hunters placed the antelope in the food preparation area and immediately began preparing the meal. Some members built a fire while others cleaned the meat, cut it into bite-sized pieces, and placed it into clay pots with water to cook. While waiting for the food to finish, they took turns adding more firewood, keeping the fire burning steadily and watching over the boiling pots. The aroma of freshly cooked meat soon spread throughout the camp. Once the meal was ready, the entire tribe gathered together to enjoy the hot food and recover their strength after the first successful hunt. Following a short period of rest, the group prepared for another hunting trip. Leaving the camp once again, the tribal hunters headed into the sparse forest in search of another prey. Before long, they discovered a troop of monkeys foraging on the ground, digging through dry leaves for fallen fruit and other food. Using low bushes as cover, the hunters quietly spread out and slowly closed the distance. When they were close enough, one arrow was released and struck a monkey. The entire troop immediately panicked, quickly climbed into the trees, and disappeared deeper into the forest. The hunters collected the captured monkey, tied it securely, and began making their way back to the camp. The hunters took turns carrying the captured monkey, following familiar forest trails back toward the camp. Along the way, everyone remained alert, carefully watching surroundings for any dangerous wild animals. As the camp gradually came into view, those who had stayed behind came forward to help carry the game into the living area. After placing the monkey on the ground, the group prepared the necessary tools and immediately began getting everything ready to cook the second meal of the day. The tribe quickly built another fire to prepare the meal from the monkey they had just hunted. Some members cleaned the meat, cut it into bite-sized pieces, and placed it into clay pots filled with water to cook. While waiting for meat to become tender, they took turns adding firewood, maintaining a steady fire, and watching over the boiling pots. The rich aroma of the cooking meat gradually spread throughout the camp as the meal neared completion. Once the food was fully cooked, everyone gathered together to enjoy the hot meal after the second successful hunt of the day. They ate heartily to restore their energy after many hours of traveling and hunting to the forests and grasslands, while a peaceful atmosphere settled over the camp as the tribe continued enjoying their freshly prepared meal.
Significado espiritual. Eles não têm.
As dawn gradually spread its gentle light across the savanna and sparse woodlands of Tanzania, the first rays of sunlight illuminated the vast grasslands, while many wild animals began searching for food across the open landscape. At the camp, the group of indigenous hunters also woke before sunrise to prepare for a new hunting expedition. They carefully checked their bows, arrows, knives, and ropes, making sure every tool was in perfect condition. Some tested their bowstrings, organized their arrows, and inspected their equipment one final time before departure. While the hunting dogs were fed and ready for the journey, several young men of the tribe took the opportunity to practice archery at fixed targets. Once every preparation was complete, the hunting party quietly left the camp and began another hunt across the vast African savanna. After moving deeper into the savanna, the indigenous hunters unexpectedly witnessed a lion bursting from the tall grass and bringing down its prey in the middle of the open plain. The group immediately stopped and silently observed from a safe distance. As the lion stood beside its fresh kill, the hunters used the tall grass as cover and quietly moved closer. However, the lion quickly noticed their presence. It repeatedly roared, bared its fangs, and advanced in a threatening manner to drive away the unexpected intruders. The hunters quickly spread out to both sides to maintain a safe distance, while continuously drawing their bows and firing several arrows at the predator. After only a few moments of resistance, the lion gradually lost its strength and collapsed on the open savanna. On the way back to the camp, the hunting party discovered a beehive hidden deep inside the hollow of a large tree trunk. They quickly gathered dry grass and lit it to create smoke, driving the bees away from the hive. Once the area became safer, One member carefully reached inside the tree and slowly pulled out the honeycombs one by one. Large golden honeycombs were passed down to the others below, who carefully collected them. After gathering enough honey, the group packed it together with their hunting trophies, extinguished the remaining fire, and continued along the familiar trail back to the camp. Back at the camp, the tribe quickly lit a fire to prepare their meal. The meat from the hunt was cleaned, cut into bite-sized pieces, and placed into clay pots with water to cook over the fire. While waiting for the food to finish cooking, the members took turns adding firewood, maintaining the flames, and watching over the simmering pots. The freshly collected honey was also divided into small portions for everyone to enjoy. Once the meat became tender, the entire tribe gathered together to share the meal and restore their strength after the first hunt of the day. After a short period of rest, the hunters prepared themselves for another journey. Leaving the camp once again, the indigenous hunters entered the sparse woodland in search of another prey. Before long, they found a troop of monkeys feeding on the ground, constantly searching through fallen fruit and dry leaves. Using the low bushes as cover, the hunters quietly split into several directions and slowly moved closer. When the distance became favorable, a single arrow was released and struck one monkey. The entire troop immediately panicked, rapidly climbed into trees, and disappeared deeper into the forest. The hunters quickly collected the captured monkey, secured it with rope, and carried it back toward the camp. After returning to the camp, the tribe began preparing another meal using the monkey they had just hunted. More firewood was added to the fire while some members cleaned the meat, cut it into bite-sized pieces, and placed it into clay pots with water to cook. As the meat simmered, everyone took turns feeding the fire and watching over the cooking pots. Once the meal was ready, the entire tribe gathered together to enjoy the hot food after completing their second hunt of the day. Everyone ate heartily to recover their energy after many hours of traveling and hunting through the forest and across the savanna. The atmosphere around the camp became lively as they continued eating and enjoyed the remaining honey they had collected earlier.
A thin layer of morning light spreads across the dry land, surrounding a lake in northern Tanzania. In the faint mist and lingering warmth from the previous night's campfire, a new day of hunting begins for the Hadzabe people. They carry no modern weapons, only bows, arrows, and knowledge passed down from one generation to the next. Their bows are carefully checked, bowstrings tightened, and arrow tips are gently warmed over glowing coals to keep the resin coating dry. The poison made from desert plants does not bring down prey immediately, but it is enough to gradually weaken it over time. The Hadzabe men gather in small groups. A few quick glances are exchanged before they begin their journey. Ahead lies a vast and unforgiving savanna. The hunters move slowly, spreading out in a wide line, each step nearly silent. One man kneels to examine flattened grass and freshly disturbed soil beneath a bush. The signs are familiar and suggest that a large python passed through the area not long ago.
A silent killer makes so.
The group continues following the trail. Unlike many other animals, pythons often leave long drag marks across soft ground and low vegetation. After searching for a while, they spot the snake quietly moving through the brush in search of prey. The hunters quickly spread out around it. Once they are close enough, an arrow is released with precision. The python immediately thrashes and tries to disappear into the thick brush. The Hadzabe do not rush forward. Instead, they wait patiently. As the animal gradually weakens, they carefully move in and bring the hunt to an end. And one cheers or celebrates. For the Hadzabe, prey is not a symbol of victory. It is simply a source of food that helps sustain everyday life. Not every hunt is successful. However, some days they return empty-handed. Success and failure are both familiar parts of life in the wild. Just then, one of the men suddenly stops and looks up. From the edge of the brush, a golden shape slowly emerges. A lion steps into view, its cold eyes fixed on the python that has just been brought down. It understands that the scent of meat means an easy opportunity for a meal. The hunters immediately move forward a few steps and raise their bows in a defensive stance. There is no panic and no attempt to run. For the Hadzabe, the rule when facing dangerous animals is simple. Avoid unnecessary risks, stay safe, and do not create conflicts unless absolutely necessary. The lion pauses and watches. A poisoned arrow could put it at a disadvantage, and it seems to sense the caution of the hunters standing before IT. As the sun slowly disappears beyond the deep red horizon, smoke begins to rise from the camp, mixing with laughter and familiar stories shared after a long day. What remains is not the brief encounter between humans and a predator, but the sense of connection that has helped the Hadzabe endure for generations. In this vast landscape, they are not trying to conquer nature. They simply hope for a day well lived, hunting together, sharing food, and returning home side by side. The python meat is divided among everyone, with some of it placed directly over a newly lit fire. Fat drips onto the glowing coals, sending fragrant smoke into the air. They eat with their hands, enjoying the meat while it's still warm, then carry the rest back to camp. Children run out to greet them, watching closely as the adults prepare the meat, tend the fire, and share the food. Step by step, they learn the skills needed to survive in the wild. Around the evening fire, the python meat is shared with everyone, from women and elders to young children. No one keeps the catch for themselves. What matters most is not who made the kill, but that everyone has food and remains together. In the gentle darkness of Africa, happiness can be surprisingly simple. Sometimes nothing more than a piece of meat passed around fire and loved ones gathered close beside it.
Across the open woodlands and grasslands of Africa, there are still tribes that maintain a traditional hunter-gatherer way of life. Their survival does not depend on machinery or stored food supplies but on whatever nature provides each day. Every hunting trip is a test of patience, experience, and observation. Among the many animals that inhabit this landscape, pythons are considered one of the most challenging prey to pursue. They are not particularly fast and rarely attack without provocation, yet their remarkable camouflage makes even experienced hunters approach them with caution. At first light, a group of hunters leaves the camp carrying bows and a few simple tools. They speak very little throughout the journey. Every step is slow and deliberate, careful not to disturb the quiet wilderness around them. Rather than searching for a python with their eyes alone, they read the signs left behind by nature. A faint trail across the sand or a few displaced leaves can reveal where the animal is hiding. The hunters know that pythons often rest in trees, dense vegetation, rocky crevices, or deep mud to escape the heat of the day. Missing even the smallest clue could mean hours of searching with nothing to show for it. When the animal's hiding place is finally located, no one rushes forward. One hunter uses a long branch to probe the area while the others take positions nearby, ready to assist if necessary. When the python suddenly bursts from its shelter, it becomes caught in a prepared trap within seconds. The first priority is securing the head, as this is the only way to reduce the risk of a bite and prevent the powerful snake from wrapping itself around a hunter. The Hadzabe have faced dangerous animals many times in the wild, but when dealing with a large python possessing both strength and experience, they remain extremely cautious. Once the python has been fully restrained, the group quickly moves it away from the dense vegetation to ensure everyone's safety. For indigenous communities, such a catch is a valuable food source and is rarely wasted. The meat is shared among families within the tribe, while the skin may be used for various practical purposes. The success of the hunt does not belong solely to the person who captured the animal but is distributed throughout the community. This spirit of sharing and mutual support has helped these tribes remain united despite the challenges of life in the wilderness. What truly sets these indigenous tribes apart is not only their courage but also the vast knowledge passed down through generations. Elders teach younger members how to distinguish fresh tracks from old ones, identify the places where pythons are most likely to appear during different seasons, and understand when these reptiles are most active. These lessons are learned through direct experience in the field. For them, hunting is not simply a way to obtain food, it is a process of learning observation, patience, and respect for the laws of nature. Behind every hunt lies a philosophy built upon balance with the natural world. Indigenous hunters do not take more than they need, nor do they seek to stockpile large quantities of food for the future. They believe that nature will continue to provide as long as it is used responsibly. As a result, each hunting trip takes only what is necessary, allowing ecosystems time to recover and sustain future generations. To them, the forest is not a place to conquer but a home that deserves respect. This mindset has allowed them to live in harmony with nature for countless generations. The python hunts of Africa's indigenous tribes reveal far more than impressive survival skills. They also demonstrate a deep and enduring connection between people and the natural world. Every aspect of the hunt reflects a way of life shaped by experience, cooperation, and adaptability. While modern society becomes increasingly dependent on technology, these communities continue to show that understanding nature and respecting its rules remain essential to long-term survival. Perhaps it is this very principle that has enabled them to preserve their ancient way of life for thousands of years without losing their balance with the land they call home.